All right, the fourth wall breaking Merc with the mouth is finally here. Deadpool. And man, I gotta say, I Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Drinks and a Movie here with Chris Hamker. And Deadpool is finally here after a long awaited, almost years, I think. Back when the test footage was leaked, and it's finally here. The movie that, Ryan Reynolds wanted to make, and it's here, and I loved it. I mean, come on. It was just made exactly how it should have been made. But first, let's start with the drink. And what I thought I would do the Deadpool blowjob. And if anybody that's seen the movie would understand why I picked the drink, the blowjob, because it's referenced in the movie. But I did the Deadpool version, which is grenadine, Kahlua, and Bailey's layered in a shot glass with good old whipped cream topped off. So we'll start there. We'll add some grenadine about a third of the way. Then, using a spoon, we will layer the Kahlua into it. And now the Bailey's on top. And what I find this makes is a really nice looking red, black, and white shot, just like Deadpool, red, black, and white. So topped off with some whipped cream. Oh my god, whipped cream, everybody. And because I'm a classy kind of guy and Deadpool's a classy kind of movie, we're gonna do this exactly like you should do a blowjob shot. Hands behind your back and lower your mouth down onto it. So here we go. Please enjoy, everybody. Okay. Well, that's actually pretty tasty. A little bit of the cherry in with the grenadine mixed with the Kahlua and Bailey's. I kind of liked it. And it wasn't that hard to do. I know I see some people doing this and they're like, it's so hard, just get my mouth around it, and never mind, I'm not going to go into it. Point is, it's pretty good. I think you guys should try it. It's a fun drink, and you don't need to do it that way. You can, just shoot it regularly. A little Cool Whip never hurt anybody. So, let's get into the movie. Alright, so Deadpool. Deadpool is here, and it's starring Ryan Reynolds, Morena Baccarin, T.J. Miller, directed by Tim Miller, and written by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. And I mentioned the writers, which I don't normally do because not a lot of people know writers, and so there's not really recognizable names, and I totally concede that every movie depends on its writers, but this one especially does so because this movie is hysterical from start to finish, and it was because of these two guys. I mean, it's wall-to-wall funny, and it does so in the writing with all the quips and all the references. I mean, they really dug deep with this one. I mean, they did not let anybody go, get off scot-free. I mean, everybody's a target in this, and it's so just gleefully rude. It's super violent. It is very hard R. I mean, it's nasty at some points, but I gotta say, I pretty much loved every minute of it. I mean, it's just so funny, and Ryan Reynolds is perfect. I mean, just perfect for this role. I mean, he has been wanting to play it for years. Even so much so that they filmed this test footage that was leaked, and everybody just went nuts over it, and so the studios had to consider doing it. And when they did that, they did it the right way this time. I mean, they really did. Deadpool showed up for the first time, I think, in film a couple of years ago in X-Men Orange as Wolverine, and it was awful. Ryan Reynolds also played that, and he did his best, but they totally screwed up the character. I knew a little bit about the character. I read some of his comics, but and I liked it then. I mean, because and they did do one of the my favorite things in movies that you can do is break the fourth wall and speak to the audience. And I think if done right, it can be just a hilarious tool. And they used it really wisely here. The character of Deadpool, just like in the comic books, is self-aware and knows he's in a movie, knows he's in a comic book. Or is he just crazy? I mean, and what I liked about this movie is that they skirt that line, and they do it wonderfully. And it's very self-referential. They reference other comic book titles. They reference other people that play comic books, Hugh Jackman in particular, which I loved. I mean, just, referencing him was so great. Yeah, so there were a couple of things that I didn't like. I mean, honestly, 95 to 98% of this movie I liked. I mean, I couldn't find much wrong with it. There's only a couple of things. There's a couple of X-Men in the movie. Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead are in it, and you see them in the trailer. My issue with them is they're kind of like when you hit the team up button in a video game, and the help shows up and they fight off a bunch of bad guys with you and then disappear. And then you hit the button again later on in the movie and they show up and then they disappear again. They were kind of just there. I mean, in Colossus the effects on him are incredible, but as you hear it in the trailer, he's got this Russian accent. He's not really a whole lot like the Colossus we've seen before in the other X-Men movies, which I thought was kind of strange because this movie is supposed to exist in the same universe, and so why make that change? Because of comedy, because of whatever the reason. I mean, the Russian thing was very funny. The broken English Russian accent with Deadpool, we cannot allow that. I mean, that kind of stuff is really good and really funny, but I just don't understand the change because it's supposed to exist in the same universe. So that was one of my big gripes. The other very small issue I have is that his Deadpool being crazy and being able to talk to the audience, break the fourth wall, isn't. I didn't want it to be explained, but I wanted it to have because it is an origin story. I wanted it to have a gradual build. Have it happen a little bit and then get more and then more and more and more until he's totally self-aware. That's one of the only things I think they could have done a few really cool things with that. But that's very small, very, very small. Otherwise, like I said, I love this movie and I highly recommend it. Alright guys, so to sum everything up, obviously, I really love Deadpool. I would highly recommend it. It's very rated R, so just keep that in mind when you go into it. It is a comic book movie, but it's unlike any comic book movie that has come out in a long time, maybe even ever. So highly recommended, but keep that in mind. I mean, it's kind of an obscure character, and you kind of get thrust into his world, and that's great. But I mean, if you don't know a lot about him, it can be kind of strange and jarring. But again, with the magic of television, we have another Deadpool blowjob. Let's put a little of this on there. Maybe do a little bit better this time. There you go. Not too bad. I'm not going to do it the classic way because I can only handle one of those. But here we go. Cheers, everybody. Again, I almost forgot my rating. So Deadpool, I really loved. I thought it was great. I'm going to give it a... I'm going to give it a 4.5 drinks out of 5. 4.5 drinks out of 5. Come on. Thank you. Anyway, cheers everybody. Have a drink on me. Let me know what you thought about Deadpool. Yeah. Here's to you guys. Have a drink on me. Thank you.